is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 180. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E. He's sitting here Sunday afternoon, double defeated Austin, Texas, especially coming off that FCTO match. It was an exciting one. And of course, coming off our live stream earlier today on Sunday, because Josh Wolff has been fired by Austin FC. But we'll start as we always do. How you feeling, my friend?
Definitely feeling a little bit better. The illness is not kicking my ass anymore, which is great. In regard to my fandom, that game last night with the Galaxy was quite the match. What an absolute shit show that ended up being there. Obviously, it is now a new day in the Austin FC world. We are moving on from Josh Wolff as a manager. Then I'm completely invested in Austin FC 2, hopefully making their push to get into the playoffs, and we get that monumental collapse there at the end of that matchup. So there's just a lot going on. There's a whole lot of shit going on right now. I've made some terrible decisions in my fantasy football world, and that is not sitting very well with me at all. So
it's a roller coaster of a day here in the North End. So a note on that Josh Wolff getting let go live stream that we did earlier. We had both E and myself were joined by both members of Moontower Soccer. So Landon and Jeremiah came by. Phil West popped in after he got done recording his own version, right? Emergency Podcast finally had an actual emergency podcast. But another big shout out to those guys, our friends here in the space coming by, chopping it up on short notice. So if you missed the live stream, if you're listening in audio form here, that audio from the live stream will be tacked on to the end of this episode. And if you're watching this episode on the YouTube channel, the link to that live stream is in the description of this video. Of course, you can also find it on our channel. So there's one thing, E, and I guess just real quick, right? You're all here. You know the deal. Best way to support the show. Download the audio version of this and every other episode that comes out here on our feed. Toggle that auto downloads switch on wherever you get your podcast. Go the extra mile if you feel so inclined. Rate, review, and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. And if you're tuning in on that YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. You can know when live streams pop up or a new episode goes live. Of course, on this episode, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins. Wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. E, so I did just, before we get into the regularly scheduled programming here on episode 180, we did have a question from Matt, who's a listener that frequently leaves comments, kind of joins in on the discussion. And this was left on the Josh Wolff live stream from earlier today. And his question was, in retrospect, do you think the fan base outcry had any impact, or was it always just what Roto said it was? Playoffs is the line. Wolff either ends up above it or below it, and that's that. Matt said, I enjoyed the will he or won't he discourse as much as the next guy, but looking back, it seems to me like Roto wasn't hiding anything amidst an avalanche of fan angst / speculation. So your thoughts on, I thought it was a very well-worded question. What were your thoughts on Matt's ask there?
I think he's spot on. I think that the impact from the fans was probably minimal, but I do think it played some sort of role. But again,
it didn't hurt the case, right?
Absolutely not. It did not impede this process taking place for sure. But I think, our position has been and our stance has been that he was going to lose his job if he didn't make the playoffs, because that is what Roto said. That is the only time he said it, right there at the start of the season. We got to make playoffs. This is what must happen. And if your boss gives you a task to get done and you don't get it done, you end up losing your job. So I think that Roto isn't the type of dude who's going to be swayed by that type of outcry and things like that, and having the plane go and the truck go. What I do think with the truck, them putting that quote up there from Roto about saying must make the playoffs was very poignant, and probably what I look at as the biggest factor in this release of Josh. If you watch the live stream, I kept saying that Roto did not owe Josh any favors. This is not his boy. was not his coach. He gave him this season in a difficult setting. We knew this was going to be a challenging season. We talked about on the live stream as well that we're probably going to see a Western Conference team set the record for points to make the playoffs here. So like this was a tall task and the job didn't get finished. And when you have the entire resume kind of built into this with Josh and the struggles that this team has had 3 out of the 4 seasons now not making the playoffs, it seems pretty clear as to the fact that the team needed to move in a new direction. And I think that it's just a really good, I guess the timing is really good timing in regard to what Roto said, because he even left it open because we thought we were getting ready to do something after the Houston loss. And it was like, yes, mathematically we're still alive, but like to accomplish that would have been one of the greatest comeback stories in sports history. So we were anticipating him getting fired on, following that game. Yeah. But now where it's an official elimination, you're officially out. I think that points directly to the fact that Roto said, cut and dry, black and white, make the playoffs. Didn't happen, lose your job.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think I have too much else to add to that. I thought it was just a good question there by Matt. And again, man, like we had Ari's in the live stream, right? And he's having a great day. Like, have your day, man. This is what you, right? Like, some fans have been thinking about this literally 24/7 for years now. So again, it's going to be this breath of fresh air. And like we also brought up, like, I think what I'm most excited about going forward is not just the new coach, but like overall, this feels like we're going into Austin FC 2.0.
Yes.
Right? So it's going to be a busy offseason, and I think an exciting, kind of anticipatory buildup towards next February and the beginning of the 2025 season. But this season, not over yet. We have a decision day match, and while that does not matter in the standings, I don't know, man, like, I'm all in, like whoever is on the sidelines, right? We don't have an interim yet. Whoever goes out there, whether it's kind of the legacy game with your Hectors and your Ethans out there, or they go a little bit younger, or some mix of both. I'm excited to be there without that cloud of Josh Wolff in any part of the stadium, right? And like, even though decision day is meaningless in the standings, I don't think it's meaningless, especially now for the team and the fan base, because this is the first opportunity we're going to have all together to be, again, into this new era, even though it's not, it's still the 2024 roster here. Mm-hmm. We know the direction is now new and going in a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I'm most excited about is we're ushering in the full Roto era here. He's going to be able to pick his guy. He's going to be able to get his staff. We're going to revamp the roster. We got a lot of guys, that are going to be up contract wise that we're going to have to move on from. Guys, hopefully we could renegotiate and things like that. But I'm just most excited about being able to move forward with that. I feel like you're going to see a fan base that is now even more united going forward, and that's a really great thing. And I'll throw my jabs at the Galaxy fans a little later, but I got those. I got those in the holster for sure. There, I'm just excited to see the full Roto era begin. And ultimately, like if you hated Josh Wolff, if you didn't hate Josh Wolff, the biggest fuck up of this organization throughout its short history has been the Claudio Reyna era. From the contracts that we've had to deal with, to the amount of money we were giving out to dudes, to the embarrassing story that he has come out, and that was Josh's Reyna's dude. So now you're officially kind of cutting all ties from that regime, and I am just incredibly excited about that. I know we had Phil on there earlier, and he brought up the big bad boogie word about potential
Berhalter.
No, automatic contract.
Oh yeah.
Kick-ins. Why am I fucking
auto triggers?
There we go. Yes, auto triggers. The word's so scary it escaped me. So yeah, dude, I'm just excited for this era to begin. It is a fresh start. We're ready to go, but we've still got a task at hand, and I'm amped up for this final game. I know that it is meaningless in regard to the standings and our playoff push and hopes and things like that, but it's going to be our last game. Hope we got with a bang.
Let's talk about what's going down between now and then. We've got an international break, of course, between the penultimate week and the final game of the season. But we have 3 first-teamers called up. We mentioned Irvin Torres, right, getting the U19 shout on Thursday's episode. But for the first team, we've got Julio called up to the Costa Rican national team. They will take on Suriname on Friday the 11th and Guatemala on Tuesday the 15th. And then Alexander Svatok called up. I did not see if this was a reserve spot or just a full-on call up to the team for Svatok, but the Ukrainians will take on Georgia on Friday the 11th, and Czechia on Monday the 14th. And then Danny called up World Cup qualifiers for Venezuela again Thursday the 10th against a little country called Argentina, and then Tuesday the 15th against Paraguay. So congrats to all of those guys, and obviously we will be tuned in, especially to those Venezuelan matches.
So we're gonna not have any of those dudes.
No, so that'll be the weekend that we're on bye here coming up, so they'll all be back.
Oh shit! We played the
Decision
19th?
days on the 19th.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! Oh my god!
Dude.
Jesus.
I know. Such a long break.
Yeah, we say it every time. Congrats to you dudes. Absolutely wonderful accomplishment. Don't get hurt. Get back here.
Yep.
Finish out the season.
All right, so last night, obviously going into the Galaxy match, just Mikkel Dessler on the injury report. He ended up sitting out this match. And, I thought before the match, we said, yeah, that means he's probably done for the year. So I would not expect to see him on decision day. But we also had a very interesting lineup that not only left fans, I think, scratching their heads about who was in there and why, but also what formation is this? Because you look at the team sheet, Brad Stuver wearing the armband once again, so you've got Alex Ring on the bench. That back line, Brendan Heinzai, Julio Cascante, Alexander Svatok, Guilherme Biru. I thought we were going to see John Gallagher, who was also in the starting 11, sitting back kind of in that back five once again. The rest of the 11 was Gallagher, Valencia, Pereira, Driussi, Obrian, and Rubio. Notable DP missing from that lineup as well, E. So by the time we get into this match, right, Brendan Heinzike is 100% playing right back. And it looked like to me, sometimes Gallagher was dropping back to what looked like a left wing back. But in kind of our shell defense, it looked like 4-4-2 to me. So this was a departure from what we've seen over the last few matches on defense. And then obviously like putting Heinzike at right back and no Bukhari. It was a swing, and I think a swing and a miss by Coach Wolff in his final match.
Look, man, I don't know if people should be confused about Bukhari sitting on the bench for this game.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
I don't see how people could be confused about this. He was absolutely awful the game prior. His attitude was terrible, and he got benched because of that. Like, we've been talking about wanting to get guys out who are not performing or being dickheads on the field. He did both of those things in the Portland game. So, like, he absolutely got benched. We get him in right away. And, like, I'm going to give Josh credit there. Like, he knew this was coming. You know what I mean? And like he's stuck by these guns to bench this dude because of the way that he played in the Portland matchup. So that part I can't get on board with. And I think that, getting him in at halftime was the right. He paid his dues.
To your credit, you did peek behind the scenes, and I know some of our buddies could attest to this too in some group chats that you called it right away. You said, "I see him at halftime." Like it is performance based. Yeah. And then that's exactly how it played out. So I'll give you the Easterdamus credit for that one.
Hey, look, we need one of them this year. And then outside of that, I'm pretty confused. I'm fine with Dessler being shut down at this point if he's not 100% full go. Obviously, this is a different situation with the Leo situation because it could have been a Leo situation where like we're saying he's shutting it down. But if he's not ready to go, obviously this game is meaningless. I don't want to see him in it. And then the rest of that formation, man, it was interesting. I thought potentially you could be seeing a little more double striker action with Obi and Rubio up there, but it seemed to be a bit fluid, particularly on the offensive side of the ball.
Heinzike at right back?
I know. Yeah.
I just don't. That was what stuck out to me once the ball got rolling was like, we just kept like, I guess I just don't understand why Gallagher isn't like the better choice back there and just mix it up somewhere else. Or, I don't know, like start Hector. Like, let's start a right back at the position. I don't know. Again, probably spending way too much time on this little point, so we can go ahead and get into this game, which was, you think we're long-winded and delaying getting into this match. Well, the Galaxy fans decided they wanted to delay that match because I have never seen that much smoke released and then hanging around a field. You literally could not see the field from the broadcast camera.
No, it was insane. And like we knew right then and there that this was going to be a wild match. Like that was just going to have all kinds of MLS, footprints all over it and everything like that. But this was, I mean, even they delay it. And then even when they do start it, you still had the first 5 to 7 minutes where it's like, okay, really difficult to see anything that's going on out here.
Yep. I had a note here in the 8th minute. That's where it starts to clear up a little bit. And in that 8th minute, yellow card to Gaston Brugman for pulling down Obrian on a give and go attempt at the edge of the 18 out towards that right side. Driussi took that free kick, cleared it out, or Galaxy rather cleared it out, nothing doing. And then Ricky Puig gets a yellow card for dissent in the 14th minute. And Ted Uncle's just getting warmed up here. 23rd minute. A pretty slick build up here from the Galaxy down that right sideline. A back heel from Gabriel Peck, and then a give and go to get it back to him with another little back heel flick on that right sideline. He charges down the sideline into the 18-yard box, picks out a wide open Joseph Paintsil, and credit to Dejan Joveljic for the dummy, right? Because he could have had a go, I think, at this pass. And Paintsil from point blank range sends it up and off the bar and out. I thought initially that Stuver might have gotten a touch to that, but the deflection I saw was off that crossbar and should have been 1-0.
Should have absolutely been 1-0. This was a sexy run of play for this Galaxy team. I mean, it didn't end here. They just have incredibly talented dudes on the ball, from Peck to Ricky to Joveljic as well, and then Paintsil ends up with
the 1 seed.
They're going to be the number 1 seed. Like they've earned it. They've been at the top of the table for the majority of this season. I talked about it in the article that I did before this matchup. They didn't lose their first game until their 6th contest with LAFC. So like this is a really, really good team, and you got to see it on full display right here. But Paintsil makes that 95 times out of 100. So
maybe even more.
Yeah, we felt it. It was like shit. Here it comes.
Yep. 2 minutes later, Peck again going from 40 yards out, 1-on-6.
Yep.
Just
cooked half our
his
team.
way. Yeah, makes his way to 1-on Stuver by the end of it, and great kick save here by Brad. So preserves the 0-0 scoreline. But I think we all said where we were watching last night, oh boy, this is coming. 5 minutes later, you get a yellow card to Danny for a 2-hand shove on Ricky Puig in transition.
Love it.
I enjoyed how much we put Puig on his ass last night.
Loved
that was
it.
very similar to the match at Q2 back in April. But off that free kick, Ricky takes it, changes the field from left to right all the way over to Gabriel Peck, and he brought it down deftly, wheels around Biru out in that far side corner, drives into the penalty area. Nobody steps up to help Biru here after he got beat in the corner. Peck picks out the far post, slots it home between Stuver and kind of Julio, just like a little bit outstretched, trying to block this shot. I just thought this was poor help side defense. I don't think I'm putting this too much on Guilherme Biru for getting beat over there in the corner. Like, I think in that instance, I credit Peck for a great move. But again, it's just that whole 10 minutes, it was just leading to this goal.
Yes, absolutely. It was calm, it was just building and building and building. And he gets a lucky bounce. Peck, that is. Like Biru initially kind of like takes this ball off of him, but it somehow just bounces back to him. Great shot. I see Johan, and I know what he's trying to do in that situation because he's kind of trying to goad him, because it looked like from the angle that he was going to have to take a pass here, but he puts it on that left foot and just curls it in, and it was a really impressive play. And I mean, this is the only team in MLS history with 4 guys with double-digit goals, and Peck is one of them. So, this is just a team that can really score the fucking ball, and you see it right now. It's just kind of individual brilliance. Not to say that our defense was anything that was, to write home about in this situation, but sometimes you got to tip your hat to the offense.
34th minute. High turnover created here by Austin, and there was a number of them in this match, especially in the second half, because Austin turned around. Like, they did not wilt. They did not give up in this one, and credit to all the players for that here. High turnover created. Seba to Obi, who one touches to Rubio, and then Nelson comes in to clear it after a heavy touch from Diego, and he goes down. Ted Unkel stops play here. Austin has the ball on the edge of the 18. He got hit by his own man, not in the head.
Nope.
And I thought this was an awful stoppage. Like, there's some times where it's like, okay, I'll give the official the benefit of the doubt. You could see live. I guess I just saw live, right? Maybe clearly not Ted, that he did not get hit in the head and it was his own man. So, like, to stop this play and then you restart, of course, with a drop and Galaxy kick it all the way back to Stuver and we have to start over 80 yards from net. Again, thanks, Ted.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. I mean, it's so fitting that he was a part of this shit show game, and he was the ref for it. He doesn't even.
And Drew Fisher was the fourth.
I know, and Drew Fisher's on there on the sideline and everything like that. And it's just like, I can't remember, was it the Portland matchup or the RSL game where Julio's down in the box for a minute?
Yeah.
No stoppage there, nothing happens, but like this dude and immediately he starts pointing to his head, and it's like, dude, it wasn't even remotely close to being hit in the head. So awful, Ted, idiot.
40th minute here. Stuver, which has happened too often in the last few games, gets caught in no man's land here on a counter, off his line and out of his penalty area here on the near side to the broadcast camera. Svatak covers him as he blocks Painsel's attempted cross. Gabriel Peck recovers that loose ball. Johan Valencia comes in on a challenge. Gabriel Peck goes down. Penalty is given. I thought live it didn't look obvious to me that there was nothing in it. But as soon as that replay comes up, again, you see a couple different angles and maybe you're trying to take off the Verde tinted lenses for a second, but there was nothing in it. They go to review it. They call it back. And what I don't understand is if you call this back, then the player simulated and that's a yellow. No yellow card given here. So thanks, Ted.
Yeah, there we go. It was Jovic, right?
Yeah. Was it Jovic? I thought it was Peck that went down.
I thought it was Jovic.
You might be right.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you got me on Mascara and Kamal Miller last game, so.
Yeah, I'm hot right now. Look, yeah, absolutely. It looks bad in the moment, and initially I was like, oh shit, that's definitely a PK. But then you see the replay and everything like that, and Jovic goes right through the back of Johan's leg here, like intentionally. So should have been a yellow card.
To close out the half, you get 6 minutes of stoppage, and closing out the half, this game is wide open. Chances at both ends. Seba with some nifty individual footwork here near midfield springs Austin into the Galaxy's final third. Seba gets back onto the ball after a few passes here, and he crosses into the 6 right to the head of Diego Rubio, and he kind of pops like the no-look header attempt behind him, and it almost drops into the goal, but lands just on top of the net. And then Austin gets it back, though, creates another high turnover right before the half, and Obi offside walking to get back. And that was pretty frustrating to me because, again, I know that when that happened against Portland, he was dog-tired and he had been given his all. And he had been given his all here. But, again, like, you just jog for a half second, you're back on, and maybe we convert that chance. So there's just a little bit of frustration in the half.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say shout out 10 for another very valiant performance. He seems to get up for games like this where he's playing against the the upper echelon teams of this league, and I thought he really showed out and played well. And like multiple times, I know we're not going to bring this up in the notes, but there was multiple times where he made the anticipatory run to either understand the trajectory of how a ball was going to be coming off a Galaxy player or read the pass that the guy was going to make and intercept it. And that actually generated some of these high turnovers. And I was just really, really impressed with that because that's not something you see him do all that often. So I thought that was great. Obi here, like with the difference between the Portland matchup and his offsides call on that one, he had made a really good run to start that. He doesn't get delivered the ball. In this situation, he just kind of caught off sides and then is unwilling to get back. But you did see a bit of, really bright flashes from Austin here. The Diego backwards header obviously would have been a spectacular goal, but I thought it was a nice little buildup of play. And you saw this through to the end of the half. And I thought that our physicality with the Galaxy, particularly Ricky, was really great. So, I wasn't all in all like, God, what a terrible, terrible half. I think we should have been down 2-0 if you play out that Paintsel goal or miss more often than not. But I was encouraged, and I thought that, getting Usman in right at halftime was going to happen, and it did eventually happen. And comes in and makes an immediate impact right away.
Like you said, coming out of the half, you get Bukhari in for Brendan Heinzike, which pushes John Gallagher back to right back and O'Brien over to the left wing spot. 3 minutes into the half here, you get a yellow card to Julio Cascante. Once again, shoving Ricky Pooch down right before he got into the Austin area, and that free kick gets driven into the Austin wall, or just Rubio's face, rather.
Yeah.
And again, he doesn't go down clutching his face and, and stop play. Right? Goes out for a corner, and this is where Gabriel Peck tries the Olympico, and Stuver punches it away, and it ends up falling right to Peck, who had sprinted up to the corner of the box, and he rips one, and it goes just over the bar. And I think it's just kind of these guys can take turns sometimes, but last night Gabriel Peck was their best player.
Absolutely. And you could kind of see it turn on with him earlier in that first half where he was like, okay, this game is going to be a little bit open. Let's go do this thing. And he was all for it. This Olympico opportunity was quite scary. And he's just really, the dude's a stud, he's been a stud all year.
I think I just remembered, didn't you in one of our post Austin FC match FIFA matches that we were playing with some of our buddies, didn't you try to Olympico?
Yeah, kicked it right into the side net.
I think we were up a couple goals at that point. Anyways, back to business here. 55th minute, the Punisher takes the ball off of Peck, who flops. Ted Uncle waves at him to get up. And also, I know that this isn't new for the Apple TV producers, but why is there a close-up of Peck on the ground bitching when we are literally going towards net? Anyways, they cut back to play here. The ball finds Diego Rubio, who is kind of momentarily indecisive, but then slides it to Buka out on the right. Buka plays a nice 1-2 with Danny, who's inside the area, and then Bukhari fires a pass in that finds a cutting Sebastian Driussi, who bangs it home, ties the match. Seba's 50th goal for the club, first player, I believe, to 50 goals. Not I believe, clearly nobody else has more. But his first league goal since May 18th.
Look, I'm not going to focus on the negative stuff here because I clearly could. You could
see the weight off his shoulders too when he scored.
You saw this pass from Book too, and this was the exact play that we had early in the second half versus Portland. And he made the adjustment here and played it with confidence and put it into a spot where 10 was trailing. And I've been preaching all since Book got here that this is going to be the space that's going to be vacated for 10 to come in and get one. And finally it happens. And I just felt great for 10 again. And for him to put in the shift that he did last night with everything going on with his social media stuff, with where the team is sitting, with the fact that he hasn't scored since May. And, he keeps showing up and, he keeps earning more respect in my book for sure.
Well, I know I said this on the live stream, so those who tuned in had, this is repetitive, but to see those two guys combine finally for a goal and a big goal, right? In the moment, is one positive that I'm taking out of last night that going forward, hopefully that's something now that the floodgates open up again once 2025 begins. 57th minute here. Austin right back on the attack after that passage of play. Bukhari darts through multiple Galaxy defenders, and then he finds Seba in the box, who kind of gets tangled up in his own feet here. He's got Obi open on his left, but he settles that ball and takes a shot that gets saved by McCarthy. But again, after the goal, Austin did not stop. They continued to be the aggressor here in the, 10, 15 minutes after we equalize.
I mean, we're talking about the Paintsel miss. This is not as egregious, but this is one that he easily can score, I just don't understand why he didn't also one time this one. It would have been a replay of the last goal that we had just scored. So, that was just kind of heartbreaking because this wasn't the only play on the night where we have a dude who's wide open on either the far post or, the near post. And we're just unable to get them the ball. But I just don't understand why he didn't one time this one. Just let it rip.
3 minutes later, Bukhari starting a counterattack off a Galaxy corner here, and Delgado gets burned and then absolutely takes out Buka from behind with a kick straight to his knee, not playing the ball. We yelled at the time when he took him out, red card.
Red card.
And like, again, I've yelled red card for some like things that are not close before, but especially when you see the replay, it just confirms, like, I don't care that he didn't put his studs into the guy. That's not a requirement for a fucking red card. That will also get you one. But like, there should have been, in my book, there should have been 2 red cards on this fucking play. First, Delgado for the most dangerous tackle on the night. And
by far.
The announcers and Joe Lowry and everybody else, you're wrong. Biru's tackle was not as bad as this one. And if we're talking about intent to injure, this one was. The other one was not. And then, like, so I said 2 red cards. Their backup fucking keeper, Mikovic, comes from the bench onto the pitch, pushes Guilherme Biru, and I don't know, in my experience, and I don't know, I have some pretty extensive experience, or like observing, participating in professional sports. You can't come, as a guy that's not in the game, can't come onto the fucking field of play and push an opposing player and then stay in the game.
Yeah,
that's an ejection.
Cut and dry. We had a homeboy in our fucking men's rec league come off the bench and he got thrown out.
Yes.
Like, we're talking rec league shit.
And he didn't touch anybody.
This was like, and you saw the malicious intent behind Delgado in his eyes, because he clearly felt some sort of way that Buka's boot was a little high and he gets chipped beforehand, which, okay, maybe it was a little high there. I understand that. But then he gets burnt, and then you see him wind this up with intent to not go after the ball and just blast our most expensive signing in league history. And he goes through with it, and
Club
somehow
history.
It's only, and what's that?
You said league history. Club history.
Club history. And just blasts him. And then for this dude to come off the bench and put his hands on one of our guys, and I'm not mad at Guilherme at all for what happens at the end of this game. Hell no, because Delgado should have been thrown out. However you say this backup keeper's name, he should have been thrown out. The fact that he was allowed to put his hands on Guilherme is fucking insane. And Uncle,
stay on the bench. That's
and
ridiculous.
he's just sitting there with a yell on the bench. Like, are you serious? So like, this was absolutely out of control. It was disgusting. I'm glad that the Galaxy have fans now. It's great that you guys are all back and invested. I can see you all got the new jerseys because you didn't have the ones last year. Because you were all little crybabies pouting forever. So now it's just like, now they're all juiced up and amped up. Like the take by Biru at the end of this game deserves some sort of suspension, multiple game suspension. Are you kidding me, bro? This is why it happened.
Yeah, 100%.
This is why it happened. So
because
like,
Ted Uncle didn't take care of it.
Exactly. Don't get mad at us. We were protecting our guy. Like, you hit our guy, we're gonna touch you up. Like, that's it. Crazy. And just the ultimate ending to Josh Wolff's career here. You get this game, you got Uncle involved. He gets into it with Vanny. We got a little skirmish. We got dudes coming off the bench. It was peak MLS for sure. But this is just embarrassing by Uncle, because Delgado should have been thrown out of the game without hesitation. Yep. Bro, you stopped the fucking game because some dude fell down after getting hit by his own dude, and now we can't get this guy thrown out of the game, and you have a dude coming off the bench. It's just ridiculous.
Well, Austin keeps up the attacking momentum here. It's a good changing ball from the Punisher over to Buka, and Osman Deeks to the inside. He takes a crack from like 25-ish yards out. It goes just wide right of the target. But yeah, like you said, I liked it. 4 minutes later, you get the first subs for Austin, or first subs after the half. Alex Ring in for Johan Valencia. And then on the other side, you get Cerrillo in for Delgado. 76th minute, off an Alex Ring shot from distance that doesn't really challenge McCarthy. McCarthy throws it out to start the break to Cerrillo. He gets it to Pooch. Ricky Pooch takes off. He finds Dejan Joveljic. And then in the box, he just crosses Johnny G up, man. And then again, just like the Pet goal earlier, credit to Joveljic for roofing this goal. This was a nice shot too after an equally nice move. Eddie, dust yourself off there, Johnny G.
I mean, like we talked about, they got 4 guys in double-digit goals, and as much as, I kind of went off the rails on this team, like, I respect how fucking talented they are. Joveljic is a fantastic striker. Ricky is one of the best players in the league. Gabriel Peck is one of the best players in the league. Joseph Paintsel is one of the best players in the league. They're very good, and after a while, when you have that type of overwhelming offensive capability. You're going to just see some more individual brilliance. They got two brilliant plays from two of their best players, and that's ultimately the difference in the game.
Couple subs here. 81st, you get Owen Wolff in for Jader Obrian, and 87th, our boy Diego Fagundes in for Joseph Paintsil, which again is just like, it's not fair.
Yeah.
You take Joseph Paintsil off, you get 10 minutes of fresh Diego Fagundes coming at you.
Yeah.
You also get a yellow card here to Owen Wolff for pulling down Ricky Pooch. So our Ricky Pooch yellow counter, we've knocked him down 3 times for 3 yellows. Into stoppage, and again, as you could guess, a lot of stoppage time here. 12 minutes given in the 4th minute. Seba causing another high turnover. We've got a 5-on-4 break here for Austin. Driussi slides it to Rubio. Rubio takes a controlling touch here, then opts for a shot that gets blocked. I thought he should have immediately slid it out to Osman, who had space to his right, but nothing doing.
I mean, this was the play I was hinting at earlier. You got to get this ball off your foot to Book, man. Like, you have to. He's wide open. So incredibly disappointing because you could have snuck one back here.
7th minute of stoppage. Austin, they get pressing hard for an equalizer. They recycle a ball out to ring above the 18-yard box on the right side. He whips a ball towards the edge of the 6, and John Gallagher cuts near post, heads it home. We all stand up. Flag goes up. And he was leaning offside on the replay, but not a bad play there, right? Just a few, half a step offside. Barry and Aude come in for Peck and Joveljic. 3 minutes later, Cascante, who's been playing as a forward the final 8 minutes or so here, Cascante receives a pass near the edge of the box, but he lays it off. Little kind of a little flick back in the path of Owen Wolff, who has a crack, and that shot rises just above the far corner of that frame. We've seen worse shots for sure.
It's a good look. Julio just out here doing his own thing. I love to see it. At this point, the game plan has kind of been scrapped. It's out the window. We're just out here playing ball, and like this was a nice little cheeky kind of effort by him and Owen. And man, it was seriously close. But like again, how was there 7 minutes of stoppage in the Portland game and there's only 6 minutes in this game?
There was 12 in this game.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yes.
I think it was 6 in the first half.
Yeah, 6 in the first half. Sorry. Yeah.
11th minute of stoppage here. Driussi causes another high turnover here again. This is one of his better games in a while. And I know, like you said, like he's been over the last like 2 games, I think, coming into this one, he's been better with the body language, the energy throughout, all of that. But steps in here, 4-on-4 break in this instance. Cerrillo takes him down before he can play Bukhari or Zardes, who were making runs. And I think he could have and should have gotten this ball off of his boot quicker. And then we set up for the free kick. Alex Ring stands over it and shoots it literally right at John McCarthy. And I know you feel some type of way about Alex shooting from distance.
I mean, who doesn't? He has not ever converted one. And they're not even great attempts. And it's just like, I said it right before he was about to kick. I said, please don't shoot this. Yeah. And just kicked it right to McCarthy.
Yeah.
And,
Well, the action's not done because in the 13th minute of stoppage here, Guilherme Biru slides in and takes out Ricky Pooch right in front of the LA Galaxy bench. Straight red Galaxy players and head coach Craig Vanny getting up in his face. And again, like I know we touched on this already, but I'm sorry, man. This is not nearly as bad as, number one, the announcers are making it out to be. Like this is some sort of like outrageous WWE move. Like that's the way I felt like they reacted. And then you've got people again like Joe Lowry, right, online, looking at the clip of that and saying that he should have a lengthy, not see the field for a long, long time. It's like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not arguing the red card at all. I'm fine, straight red, got it, right? But he also does get some of the ball, and that doesn't mean that it can't be a red card. But I just think thinking that this should be anything more than the red card and the 1 game suspension on decision day. I just think that's one of the softest takes I've seen in a while. And you, like you mentioned, you also get Josh Wolff going after Greg Vanny because Vanny does go up and like damn near bows up to Biru right there on the sideline. And again, I think the announcers saying that there was intent to injure, that's out of line because guess what? If there's an intent to injure, dude's going to be hurt after that tackle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he chips them and basically avoids most of the contact.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this wasn't a straight red. I would have wanted a straight red if it was the roles reversed, but it wasn't even close to how bad the Delgado foul was. It wasn't even it wasn't even remotely close. So I tip my hat to Guilherme. Ricky talks a lot of shit. He looks like he's got the most punchable face in the entire world. And again, you took out our dude with intent, so we got you back. And if anything,
blame Ted, man. Don't look at us.
We don't have shit to play for. You guys got the 1 seed on the line. You're up a goal in the 13th minutes of stoppage, and Ricky's flying up the sideline. Why are you doing that? So, I'm all for it. Guilherme loses it. Again, their bench basically clears. I don't get that. So, I'm not mad at Guilherme for that. And if he gets suspended for more than a game, that's just absolutely insane to me. Because to
penalize this guy, opening day on 2025, he's got to sit for that shit. Fuck off.
Get out of here, dude.
48% possession for Austin, 17 shots to 15 for Austin, and 5 shots on target to 3 in favor of Austin. 4 corners to 3 for the Galaxy. 1 big chance created for Austin. They did convert on the goal. FOTMob's XG model, 1.01 XG for Austin, 1.58 for the Galaxy. But expected goals on target, this was interesting to me, and this is the first time in a while that the expected goals on target metric didn't come close to lining up with how I felt about the game. 0.88 for Austin, 0.5 for the Galaxy. I found that interesting.
I think that is a little interesting. And again, we had our opportunities. We had our chances. And you only got the 1 goal out of them, and you knew you're going to have to score multiple goals if you're going to beat this team or even get a point off of them. So a fitting end to the official elimination. You played this number 1 seed in the West really tough. You played them tough. You played them physical. You didn't back down from it. They had 2 really amazing plays by 2 really amazing players. And, more often than not, that's how you win games. So I'm still proud of the effort for sure. I'm proud of the fight. I'm proud of the way that our guys stood up for one another, but particularly Biru. It again, like you talked about, with the pass from Book to Seba, you get the goal there. That's some of the positive momentum stuff we hope we have building here. And then you get the news with Josh and everything. So it's very much a release, kind of a relief. We're moving into a new dawn, a new era, Austin FC 2.0, as you have coined it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the post-match presser, and I'm going to make the executive decision unless you raise objection. I don't want to talk about the same shit that Josh talked about every single fucking press conference. He's no longer our coach. It was more of the same.
Okay.
But Brad Stuver was the player available in the post-game press conference, and so a couple of notes that Phil had in his post this morning on Verde All Day from Stuver. Stuver said, "We were on a high this year coming out of a pair of Leagues Cup wins, and we weren't able to get the results that we needed. Obviously, we were going against all playoff teams here in the last stretch this year. It's one of those where that's something we'll have to look at. If I had the answers, I'd probably be in upper management or the coaching staff rather than being a player. For me, it's just making sure that the guys are ready on game day to fight and compete and try to get a result. I've seen analysis of our games and the formations that we're in and all these different things, and I have to laugh sometimes because it's not even close to what we're trying to do. So when I am in the locker room and I know what we're trying to do and I go back and watch the games, I know what the guys are doing. I know what they're capable of doing, and we're trying to implement what Josh wants. And you can see that he has the ability to get guys to show up and play. We wouldn't be fighting like this. We wouldn't be caring like this if the coaches didn't have us ready to play. Asked how the players felt in only making the playoffs 1 of 4 seasons, Stuver said, "We feel like shit." So I just thought, again, interesting answers there from the man wearing the captain's armband last night. And again, man, reinforcing in my mind that we are still just the average soccer fans that don't know shit about tactics. Because, you hear him.
No, that's a great answer by Brad. And I'm right there. I'm right with what he has to say there. I didn't want to say I'm right there with you. Shout out Liz.
Shout out Liz.
So, it's been a super frustrating season, but I thought what Brad had to say there was smart and on point.
Well, anything else for you on this Galaxy match, E?
No, free Biru.
All right, real quick, we'll check in on.
The best keeper in the world.
Real quick update on Damian Loss and Louisville City from our resident Louisville City fan, Trevor Allison. He says, not the biggest news of the day, obviously, but here's your Damian update. Started in a 2-2 draw with Indy 11 that clinched the Players' Shield, which is the most, that's their supporter shield there in USL, for Louisville City. Louisville City scored in second half stoppage time to secure the trophy. The boys in purple outshot Indy 11 32-7. Indy had 3 shots on goal, 2 of which went in. The only save was off a weak shot from a cross. Damian covered the area well. First goal was in first half stoppage time. The scorer had a great first touch to eliminate the CB on his back. Hit a great shot into the lower corner. I'm not sure Damian could have done anything at all. Second goal, nice quick passage of play. Early low cross, found a runner who was not disrupted by the CBs at all. He finished point blank. No chance for loss due to the weight and placement of the ball in. I think he's probably playing his best overall of the season, not making big mistakes or taking big risks. Most of the goals going in lately are on the CBs, in my opinion. It feels like Louisville City have shifted a bit more to possessing the ball than they were earlier in the season, which might be the root of the plethora of transition chances we've seen in recent matches. I'm guessing this is to save legs going into the playoffs. So there you go. Louisville City securing the shield in USL. 2-2 draw, but overall, right, looking back on this season now and the success it has been for Louisville City, I don't think we could have asked for a better spot for Damian to land. I mean, maybe in some of these matches, right, like we've talked about from time to time, you want him getting a little bit more action on the defensive end, but just being in that winning environment at a club like that. And I believe this is their first time winning the Shield in USL. So you'd have to think he's a big part of that.
That's awesome. I mean, clearly the dude's been a winner, wherever he has gone. We can't, of course we want things to go absolutely perfectly, but we can't be like, oh yeah, we want him to get peppered with 20 shots every single night where he's got to make all kinds of crazy saves to build up, his experience and everything like that. But I'd imagine, with the quality of this team and how often they score, you're getting good work during training. You know what I mean? You're going to be against some of those top USL guys in that league and everything like that. So congratulations to them. That's awesome. Supporters Shield. Wonderful.
That'll be our one playoff run to watch, I think.
There we go.
Come on down to Palmer Field where the champions play. Get ready for the game. It's last business day.
Last business day, the last business day of the year, unfortunately. So, spoiler alert there for those that did not tune in. Taking on the Town today out there at the pitch. I don't know if you saw this, Mauricio Pochettino in town, right?
Mm-hmm.
U.S. men's national team going to play here at Q2 this week. So he was out there taking in the sights and sounds at Palmer Field. Lineup comes out. Interesting change here in a must-win game, if I do say so myself. Sal with the band, Alonso Ramirez on the bench. Steve Louis-Jean was in his place there in the defensive midfield. And then I want to say Ruben Bonachera, right? He got the red card, I think, last time out late on. So he was not available for this match. So you see Tony Gomez at right back, Sheikh Touré at left back. But I was a little perplexed with the Alonso coming off the bench here.
This is not the first time that I've been quite confused with some of the moves that, Utley has made, and I don't understand how you're not having Alonso Ramirez starting this game.
Yeah.
He's been the most consistent player all season.
Again, my only thing is that maybe something happened. Maybe that's disciplinary. I don't know. I'm just scratching my head about it.
I guess. I don't know.
So obviously, like we talked about on Thursday's episode, we needed a win and some help. And man, did things get started with a bang. 7th minute, Irvin Torres sneaks around a defender who slowed up near the end line, trying to usher a ball out for a goal kick. And Irvin takes that ball off the end line, tight ropes that boundary, and then takes just like the tiniest of a touch off of the end line to open up the slightest angle and whips it past Ochoa for the opening goal. And they're 7 minutes in the live table. We're in, baby.
I mean, what a move. This kid is fantastic. This is a stunning move just to create just enough space to sneak one by. Arguably the best keeper at the next pro level right now.
Yeah. 22nd minute, Ochoa having a tough go at the beginning. He turns it over at the back. Irvin was right there again with the pressure, but Micah Burton is the one that pokes it free, and that falls to Steve Louis-Jean, who has plenty of time to stop at the top of the box, line it up, and send it into the back of the net. 2-0 lead 22 minutes in. We're flying.
Absolutely. I'm like, here we go, baby. And I'm looking at the live table trying to keep up with the Houston matchup to see if we're going to be able to get that help, because I'm like, we're winning this game, you know,
right?
And it's just like, here we go. We have a chance here. And then obviously things start to fall apart. But I guess maybe this is why Steve's got the start.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he played well. He was up for it, and the rest of the guys were too.
Yeah.
3 minutes later is a great save here by Cervantes. Gets down to his left to parry away a shot that was very much on target from about 20 yards out. But 1 minute later, Town wins a free kick from distance, a bending ball that I don't think, again, not many keepers, maybe even at the first team level, saved this one. So 2-1. 3 minutes later, the Town threatening again, but Irvin Torres pops that ball loose and then pops it over the top to Jimmy, who takes off down that right sideline, dispatches the one defender that makes it over to challenge him, and then gets into the area, plays the ball across the face of net at the last moment as Ochoa had come out to meet him. Micah slides in to push it home. 3-1, and like, we're back. We're going to win again.
Yes, absolutely. This was an incredible play by Jimmy.
Yeah,
like, because
awesome.
he's actually, you know, behind this dude, and he's able to battle through this and get the ball back and then make a really, really fantastic run. Find Michael really late at the last moment here. And go check
good run by Micah too.
Fantastic run by Micah. And go check the live table. Let's hope Houston's down, and we're going to get in. We're going to sneak in.
Yep. We are in 8th in the live table for 4 minutes. Dyna Dos gets a PK. They convert it. So live table, Austin is out. 45th minute here, you get a penalty called against Austin. Tripped up a winger from the Town entering the box on that left side. Sends Cervantes the wrong way, and it's 3-2 before half. And at that moment, Real Monarchs scored to push Austin down to 10th in the live table.
Oof.
And we get a second Dyna Dos goal. So the vibes go from being sky high, 11 out of 10 to, God damn it.
Yeah, that was a quick turnaround.
4th minute of stoppage here, though. Austin wins a corner at the last moment. CJ fires that cross towards the back post. They head it back into the mixer. It gets loose right there on the goal line. Van Rijn tries to poke it in, but Ochoa was also down on the ground trying to grab it. He takes exception. There was a foul called, but he takes exception, throws the ball at Van Rijn. So he gets a yellow card that I don't think was reported live on the broadcast, but did get assessed. So 3-2 headed into the break. But again, live table not helping us out. Neither team helping us out that we need to go down. So into the second half here, 54th minute, Real Monarchs concede. So we're back up to 9th in the table. But at Parma, things getting chippy, multiple hard fouls by the Town, trying to get back in this one. 7 minutes later, we're at minute 61 at Parma. Dynamo concedes, so we're a Vancouver goal away from being back in that 8th spot. So vibes picking back up. 64th minute, Alonso does come in for Brian Arellano, and Houston immediately grabs one back. They're up 3-1, and that's where the other two teams, well, Dyna Dos does not look back. But Austin, as you alluded to earlier, starts to crumble. 73rd minute, De Anda comes in for Teray. Grogan comes in for Louis-Jean. Anthony Garcia comes in for CJ. 9 minutes later in the 82nd, the Town ties it up. Rocket of a shot. This player, I forget his name, but gets it at the top of the box, scoops it from his left to his right, and then just blasts it from 20 yards straight inside that near post. And that takes Austin, again, now tied 3-3 down to 11th in the live table. And I think the next possession, 84th minute, the Town header from Aaron Edwards, the defender who was or second, I think, in their goal contributions. Hadn't played in 4 matches, comes on late. He heads home the winner. And that's all she wrote, man. Obviously, a lot of Austin FC 2 possession down the end, but no real clear-cut chances. And just a disappointing way to end a run that I think they should be proud of, where the team was in the table, results-wise, right? Just the flurry of draws in the middle of the season, PK shootout losses where you're dropping points left and right. And as they kind of got healthy, right? You get full-time CJ down there, Jimmy, the roommate connection that just blossomed over the last 2 months here. I feel proud of the way the second team, as an Austin FC fan, I feel proud of the way they fought down the stretch here. It's just one day too late, right? Maybe if we had one more match day.
Yep. This team, they dropped a lot of heartbreaking games this season and found themselves in the PK shootouts more often than not and just unable to secure that extra point, which would have gone a really long way for them. This game gets just completely out of hand here late. We talked about the Town being one of the team that has conceded the least amount of goals. You score 3 on them before halftime.
Yeah.
And it's just man, it was such a wild ending for both of these teams' seasons to go out like this with Austin FC and Austin FC 2. I still salute those guys. Now we only win championships 50% of the time.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'd say 2/3 because we are still the MLS Next Pro Invitational champions. So Palmer Field always and forever will be where the champions play. We'll close out today's episode, with an Academy update. Busy weekend for the Academy. U15 team beat the Dallas Hornets 3-1. U14s also win 3-1. And for those U14s, Toby beats the keeper high left after a great ball from Luke. Max scored from his left, hitting the upper 90, and Tyler scored a header. I feel like Tyler's name pops up a lot here. Tyler scores a header that Luke chipped over the keeper's head but bounced out. The U13s won 5-0. And then we had the older guys going up against FC Dallas this weekend. U16s, 2-2 draw against Dallas. U18s, 1-0. Fuck Dallas.
We'll take it. Finally some bright news here. Tout your bets, man. Go ahead.
Oh, we're gonna do that here?
Yeah, come on. We gotta do.
Okay, well, I'm not updated from last night.
I need a pick me up.
Going on. You need a little pick me up. All right. Yeah. The bets have been looking great, folks. If you have dared to tail, you know this. But in the midweek, we had the most profitable match day of the season. More than 12 units added to the coffers, which we had just slipped down into the red for the first time in many months. So that was much needed. And now one more match day away, or we are one match day away, just decision day away from a profitable year of MLS betting. And that does feel good.
It does feel good. Oh man, I'm caught up right now on the last 2 seasons and the last 2 Leagues Cup performances and how different they were, but how the rest of the season played out the same exact. It's just been ringing in my head ever since Jeremiah brought it up with that being the moment where he was out on the coach was the horrible performance versus Juarez and Mazatlan. And then you have the complete opposite showing of that this year where you beat Monterrey, you beat Pumas, you're feeling fantastic. And then another collapse in the month of September when you can least afford to have one. And I don't know why. It's been sitting in my head for the entire episode.
Yeah. Well, and while we're on the nonsense, we will give the best ball update as of Friday. So before Saturday's matches, we had a change at the top of the best ball table for the first time since mid-July. Week 33 actually ends in a tie. So these were the midweek games from this past week. 56 points apiece for Moontower and the Verde Pendant. And Moontower picks up 15 points on Phil West at Verde all day. So they now have a 10-point lead with 2 scoring periods remaining at the top of the table. Verde Pendant opening up a wider gap between them and We Are Austin TV in the race for 3rd place there. And we picked up 9 points on Texas Ring of Fire in the spoon race. So again, that's been our goal since mid-season. Just stay away from that spoon. And looking like, barring a massive collapse, that we're going to be able to do that. But there's your nonsense update. And again, man, 10 points separating the top 2 spots with 2 match days left to score. It's going to be a fun finish.
Yeah, it's been a fun year for those guys.
Yeah. Well, anything else for you, E, before we shut it down here on episode 180?
No, sir. It's a lot of podcasting today.
Yeah, a lot of work here today, a lot of talking here today, a lot of scrambling around earlier this afternoon. But we got through it, my friend, and we appreciate all of you for being there with us through it all here this weekend and this season. Programming note, again, reminder, if you did not hear that Josh Wolff is fired live stream from earlier today, Moontower Soccer, Landon and Jeremiah, Phil West from Verde all day, hopped on, joined us. That conversation will be coming up right after this on the audio version of the podcast. And again, if you're watching on the YouTube, you can find that stream in the link to that stream in the description of this episode, or you can just find it on the YouTube channel. Because we're going into the international break, we are going to take a bye week ourselves. We will be back next Sunday, recapping everything that happens in the Austin FC universe between now and then, including, the international break. We will have best ball updates and maybe an interim coach named by then for decision day. So enjoy the beginning of your week, everybody. We'll do the same, and we'll see you back here next Sunday for another episode of the North End Podcast. Until then, easy, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.